Hi folks, the Filipina here, and it's time for another Candlelight chat. I was getting ready to film tomorrow's video, and of course, the power went out. But instead of waiting around for it to come back on, I decided to just do it like this with my candles. No lights, no green screen, just me. And it's gonna be a good one too, because today I'm gonna talk about some little known things you're gonna encounter if you live here, like why your Filipina keeps putting water in the shampoo bottle, why you should never nickname her Babalu, and when it's safe to pee in public and when it's not. The kind of things you won't see in any travel brochure, but stuff that'll surprise you if you don't know what to expect. So I do have a backup power source for my phone and mic, but when I'm filming indoors, I have to use studio lights. So I'm just going to use my candles instead because I have plenty of them. There's plenty of power outages here in Negros. And I know, guys, some of you would just say just get a generator set, but that's not an option for me right now because I'm just renting this place. I don't want to be lugging around heavy stuff. So anyway, I want to apologize in advance if this video ends up looking kind of grainy, but our girls got to do what our girls got to do. Anyway, let's start with this one. Motion sickness. A lot of you folks told me your Filipina gets motion sickness when she rides in a car, especially when the AC is on. And as strange as it sounds, some Filipinos can't ride more than a mile without feeling like they're gonna puke. I have a cousin who's the same way. And one day I picked her up, and by the end of the street, she asked me to roll down the windows and pull over. She was like, what the heck? What's going on? So it was so strange. I've seen it so often that I actually looked it up because I was so intrigued. And guess what? Asians apparently are far more likely to get motion sickness than Europeans. So I guess it's genetic too. I don't know what's in our blood. But we're supposed to be voyagers, traveling by boat. We should be acing this game. But I have another theory. With Filipinos, I think it's also about smell. Filipinos don't really ride in cars that much because obviously we can't afford them. We're so poor. Well, most of us can't afford them, but you've seen the traffic here in the Philippines and you think like, how are they affording cars here? But there's plenty of us that can't. So anyway, we're used to riding in open air transportation like jeepneys and trikes. But if we're in a car with the windows closed and the AC is on, then all the air inside is just recirculating. You know what I mean? If there's an odd smell like perfume or stale food, it makes us sick. Especially once we start bumping down the road. We need that air rushing past our faces. You might have also noticed that most Filipinos carry Vicks nasal inhaler when they travel because that's a smell we do like and it keeps us from feeling sick. Actually, I have two always in my purse. It's not that I get motion sickness. It's just like if I smell something off, I just try to take that and then okay, now I'm back in my happy place. So anyway, I know you foreigners have to have your AC, but the next time you take your Filipina for a ride with the windows closed, you better bring a barf bag because that's going to be messy, just in case. And regarding public transportation, here's something else I bet you didn't know. Jeepney drivers have the reputation of being smooth talkers that are good with the ladies. And if you notice, there always seems to be a cute young girl sitting up front next to the driver. She's sitting in what's called the bebot seat because bebot means cute young girl. You usually have to get an invitation to the bebot seat. So the next time you're on a jeepney and a pretty woman's riding shotgun, now you know why. Okay, the next one, the shampoo surprise. For those of you folks who have Filipina partners, have you ever taken a shower and squirted the shampoo in your hand and it looks very thin? And you try to put it on your head and it feels like water? Well, that's because it probably is. You all know that We Filipinas are very frugal, but this is one of the ways we take it to extremes. When a bottle of shampoo is virtually empty, instead of throwing it away like you guys do, we prolong its life by refilling the bottle with water and shaking it up. In fact, I just did that this morning. Now, I know this drives some of you crazy, but even if a Filipino is with a foreigner that has plenty of money to buy a $2 bottle of shampoo, a Filipina just can't bring herself to admit that the bottle's empty and she needs to throw it away. I know it's kind of like we believe in homeopathy. If we just have one drop of the original substance in the bottle, then it all turns into shampoo. And this is not only applicable for shampoo, because some of you know we also do that with dishwashing liquid and everything, like even peanut butter. When the jar's empty, or what you'd call empty, we take a piece of bread and rub it around inside the jar until it's completely transparent. Like basically, it's good as new. We do that with the tube of toothpaste, or maybe the containers of ice cream. They all get the same treatment. We use them down to the last molecule, down to the last atom, until we're sure there's absolutely, positively none left. It's really more funny than irritating until you go to make a PB&J and there's only a skid mark of peanut butter left in the jar. So anyway, guys, let me know in the comments section if you ever had a fight over a bottle of shampoo, and let me know how you resolved it. That would be interesting. Here's another thing we do that might leave you slightly annoyed. We leave our shoes right in front of the doorstep. So when you walk out of the house, you step on a pile of shoes. Since you're expecting to step on level ground, you jerk your leg up in the air like you stepped on a cat. This is especially annoying in the dark, for sure, because you have no clue what you just landed on. So why do we do that? Well, it's because we want to step right out of our shoes into a clean house. Plus, we're kind of used to it. If we put our shoes to the side of the door, then we have to step on dirty ground before entering the house. So we just leave it there. So it's the same thing when we're going out. We like our shoes right there in front of us. So when we leave, it's easy to just slip on and, just go. It's very prevalent in the provincial areas where there's nothing but dirt outside the front door. But again, guys, even if you move us into a nicer apartment, we're probably still gonna keep that habit. And it's one more thing you're gonna have to negotiate with your Filipina. You might also have a disagreement about the lights, because most of us Filipinos turn on a bunch of unnecessary lights and leave them burning all night, even if we're not in the room. I kid you not. Now, for a place with a high cost of electricity like here in the Philippines, this can drive some of you nuts. Most of you guys run around turning off all the lights that aren't being used. And since we water down our shampoo to save money, it doesn't seem to make any sense. So, why do we do it? It is because a lot of us are afraid of the dark, and even more afraid of ghosts. I know, it's cuckoo. You know what, guys? Whenever my brothers stay with me, I have to constantly fuss at them because they leave the lights on all the way down the hall. It's making me crazy. And they refuse to go to sleep without the lights because they said, oh, I don't want to sleep in a dark room. It's like, what the heck? It's like, grow up, dude. You're no longer a kid. And you know why? It's because of our mother. When we were kids, we were told that the boogeyman will take us. Or in our language, it's the moo, not the cow, like the moo, the ghost will take us away. So, yeah, that's why. I know it might sound silly to you, but even as adults, a lot of Filipinos will light up the house before going to bed. Not only because we're superstitious, but also for a more practical reason, to keep the burglars away. Because if there's lights inside the house, then the burglar will think, oh, okay, they're home. So Now let's cover one last subject that might cause tension between you and your Filipina. Our habit of leaving food out. In the provinces, many people don't have a refrigerator, so if we have leftovers, we just cover them and eat them for the next meal. We just leave them on the table. You might expect most of us to have died by food poisoning already, but a lot of our food is made to last a long time without refrigeration. For instance, adobo. It's got vinegar and soy sauce to help the adobo to be preserved. And for us, the older it gets, the better it tastes. On top of that, we don't refrigerate a lot of the things that you guys commonly do, like ketchup or mayonnaise or even eggs. Now, I'm not saying all Filipinos do this. Come on, my fellow Filipino people, don't crucify me. I'm not saying all of us do this, but I'm just saying some people that I know personally barely refrigerate anything. Plus, the average fridge size here is way smaller than what you guys have back home. So we have to be really choosy about what we prioritize. So for those of you OCD guys who like a spotless kitchen, forget about it. Now let's talk about some unusual physical traits that you might have noticed. Filipinos often have bent fingers or toes. Like one finger will just veer off at an angle. I think my fingers are okay. I think they're straight, thankfully, but a lot of people's aren't. It kind of reminds me of the way our cats' tails are here. 95% of them look like they've been broken. Like one of my cats, he's got this broken tail. Actually, 3 of them. Just reminds me, 3 of them. Now, I bet as soon as you watch this video, you're gonna look at your Filipina's fingers and toes to see if they're straight, and she's gonna blame me for pointing out her flaws. So sorry about that, ladies. I've been blamed for many things, so that's not news for me. And never, ever call your Filipina babalu. To you guys, it can be a term of endearment or a cute nickname, but to us, it's an insult. It means having a really long chin, like the distance from your chin to your mouth. Jay Leno is a babalu, and it's not considered pretty here, so pick a different name if you want to keep the peace with your Filipina. The reason behind that is because we have this actor named Babalu, and he's got this really long chin. So if you call your Filipina Babalu, then she'll think you're calling her ugly. But oh no, what's going on with this candle? It's going nuts. It's burning. So guys, give me 1 second. I just have to replace this candle. Alrighty, I'm back. And the power is still out. Oh well. Let's continue. So where were we? Oh, talking about weird things. Okay. Another weird thing we do is pull your nose if we think it's attractive. We even do it to babies if they have a cute one, because it is our way of saying we like it. I know it sounds strange, but hey, if it's a Filipino costume, it's my job to tell you about it. So don't be surprised if somebody decides to pay you a compliment by pulling your nose. Now, if you ask a Filipina to pull your finger, she won't have a clue what you're talking about, because we don't have that joke here. So if you want to give your girlfriend an unpleasant surprise, try it on her. And yes, you can blame that one on me too. So I don't mind. Go ahead. And since we're talking about rude things not to do, let me explain the subject of public urination. I know that where you come from, it's probably a big no-no, and it can even get you in big trouble. I don't know if this is true, but a foreigner friend told me that if you get caught peeing in public, you can even end up as a registered sex offender. That seems a little bit harsh, so I hope that's not the case. Here in the Philippines, though, it's technically illegal, but men do it all the time. Now, you can't just stand on a busy street and salute people with it or wave it around like a loaded weapon, but if there's a nearby wall or a tree, it's still socially acceptable to relieve yourself as long as you're not aiming it in anyone's direction. Just be discreet about it. And you might even be in a taxi and suddenly the driver just pulls over to the side of the road and gets out of the car and walks away. You might be thinking, what the heck is going on? But don't worry, he's probably just standing behind the cab taking a pee. Now, women don't do it very often because, well, it's a little bit harder for us to do that. But if we have something to hide behind, like an umbrella, it's not unheard of. Oh, the things you see here in the Philippines, I just brings back memories. I might have done it once or twice during my lifetime, peeing behind an umbrella. Oh gosh, I'm confessing. No, I should stop. Okay, now, some sad news for you gamers. You probably have an image in your mind that all Asians play video games because Japanese and Korean players are often at the top of the charts in competitive gaming. But then you get to the Philippines and you notice that Filipinos barely play video games at all. We play video games on our phones like Mobile Legends, and some of us play PC games, but console gaming is almost unheard of here. So, for you Xbox and PlayStation fans, if you like to own the physical copy of whatever you're playing, you might have a hard time finding games here, and even the things like controllers and the consoles themselves. Unless you're in a decent sized city, you're not gonna see anything like a GameStop, and the selections are gonna be so limited. But the good news is you can find almost anything online, even used games. They just take a few days to get here, so don't fret, my fellow gamers. All is not lost. Okay, what's next? Why do we take pictures of ourselves when we go out to eat at fast food restaurants? It doesn't look like a big deal to you, but to us, it's like, look at where I get to eat kind of thing. So we take photos as a way of bragging to our friends, and we have to post it on Facebook, on TikTok, on Instagram. Even though it only costs a few bucks, we only make about $10 a day. So it's like trading half a day's labor for a trip to Burger King. And when we get a chance to go, we want to tell the whole world. Now, if we can't afford a fancy place like McDonald's or Jollibee's, we might be able to afford something a little cheaper like McDollibee. Yep, it's a total ripoff because Filipinos are copycats. I think it's an Asian thing more than just a Filipino thing, but you're going to see examples of it wherever you go. You have Ritz crackers, we have Vita crackers. Just look at how similar the packaging is. You have Nabisco, we have Ribisco. Panasonic becomes Pensonic. There's very little trademark protection here and a lot of plagiarism. People think nothing of stealing other people's work and don't even feel ashamed of it. Unfortunately, though, blatant copycatting keeps people from being creative because there's no benefit to inventing anything. Other people just come along and steal it. If you start a successful taco business, suddenly there's 100 other people doing taco stands right next to you. And before long, no one's making any money. I know that sounds stupid, but it's just the mindset here. Don't be original. Don't be unique. Just take someone else's idea and copy it. I think that's the easier way to do it. Maybe that's why a lot of people just use their own first names when they open a store like Lucille Store or Robert Store. It's not very imaginative, but why come up with a creative name or an innovative idea when someone's just gonna steal it, right? Oh well. And finally, Filipinos love double talk. Halo-halo, chika-chika, sari-sari, pika-pika. I don't know why we like to use double words all the time, but I think it's kind of cute, isn't it? Coincidentally, my brother John John just got engaged to his girlfriend Mai Mai, and that's no bola bola. Well, that's it for today's episode, and even if you've already been to the Philippines, I hope you've learned something new. If you noticed some funny or interesting stuff I missed, let me know in the comment section. And maybe I'll make the candlelight chat a regular segment. Till next time, folks. Just one last thing before you go. If you think about it, I'm kind of like your bartender, listening to your comments and questions, giving you advice when I can, and brewing up some intoxicating content for your enjoyment. The only thing I ask in return is a small tip in the form of a thumbs up on this video, subscribing to my channel, sharing this video with friends, and hitting the notification bell so you know when your next round has been poured. I promise, it'll only take 10 seconds to do, and your tip will make my day. You wouldn't want to shaft your bartender, would you? And for last call, why not enjoy some of my other videos too? See you real soon!